Okay, so I bought this game from RetroZone called Versus Super Mario Bros. Pretty much this is the arcade version of Super Mario Bros., but ported to the NES. Needless to say, I was excited as shit to play the arcade port on my NES. When Super Mario Bros. Hit the arcade scene in 1985, it was an instant hit amongst gamers. I myself put so many fucking quarters in this machine, I could have bought me a new car. That is not an exaggeration. When Nintendo released their home console in 1987, Super Mario Bros. Was front and center as one of their first launch titles. On the outside, it looks like the same game. The NES did a great job porting the arcade version over to their home console, but they did make some changes from its arcade counterpart. If you're a casual gamer, then you will not notice the differences right off. Some of them are so subtle, even the most hardcore gamer might not catch them. But some stages are completely different, and if you've played the arcade version as much as I did, then these differences are noticed a lot easier. I have had some people just dismiss these differences and claim the arcade and NES versions are pretty much the same. So, for all of you that agree with this statement, I am about to prove how wrong you are. So, this is not a walkthrough. I will just be pointing out the differences between the NES and arcade versions, starting from World 1-1 and going all the way to World 8-4. I will try to point out as many differences as I can, but if I missed anything, please feel free to call me out on it. Okay, so let's get started. I must also mention that in the arcade version, you need 200 coins for a 1-up, and the time clock is accelerated. In the NES version, you only need 100 coins for a 1-up. So in World 1-1, everything is pretty much the same. There are only two differences in this sublevel. The first one is this mystery box with a power-up right here. In the arcade version, the mystery box is just moved up here. The second difference is these 4 mystery boxes here. The top one contains another power-up. In the arcade version, it's just a coin. Moving on to World 1-2. Your first difference will be here with this little Goomba. In the arcade, it's a Koopa turtle in its place. Next is this power-up right here. In the arcade, it's not there, it's just some bricks. Next up is this 1-up, which is right here. In the arcade version, it's a power-up instead. The final differences are here with the bricks. In the arcade version, the bricks go to the ledge. Both versions have a power-up on the last brick, so if you're Small Mario, it makes getting this power-up on the arcade version a little more challenging. And finally, there are a few bricks missing between the warp stage right here. In World 1-3, there is only one difference, being here before the flagpole. There is a floor with a red Koopa below a moving platform on the NES version. In the arcade, it's just a pit with a moving platform. World 1-4 is the first castle stage, and this is when the subtle changes start to go out the window. There will be times when I have to walk through the entire stage because they are completely different from each other, and this is one of those times. The NES version is a lot easier, and there are no really difficult jumps, and even some of the fire streams are missing, making it easier to maneuver. This part is pointless as it's just an easy walk before you get to the first fake Bowser. The arcade version is the complete opposite. There are no missing fire streams, plus they are positioned in awkward spots, making it a little more difficult to jump over some pits. It's harder, but not that hard. It makes you wonder why the NES just didn't go with the arcade design. Oh well.